Good evening, Mrs. Amy and friends. We are going to present our summary about analyzing audience and knowing your purpose. Our group consists of me, Helmalia, and my friend
Nathania Setiawan and
Putri Mutiarani.
Okay, so the first material from the module will be explained by me. The first one is the importance of knowing your audience before your speech. The very first step in delivering a successful speech is to know your audience. From the moment you stand in front of them, your ability to build a good relationship will determine whether your message is accepted or whether your listeners even stay engaged until the end. A strong connection right from the beginning is the foundation of an effective presentation. Here are some ways to knowing your audience before giving a speech. The first one is approaches to audience analysis. To establish this connection, we need to analyze our audience. This means gathering information about who they are, finding right way to address them, anticipating possible challenges, and adapting our topic to suit their needs. Audience analysis is like doing your homework before you speak. It prepares you to communicate effectively. The second is addressing your audience. Before any speech, you must ask yourself, who am I talking to? Start by capturing their attention. You could use a touch of humor or share something novel and surprising. To analyze your audience, there are two main methods. First, collect data informally by observing and asking people who know your audience. Second, collect data formally by asking about their age, gender, occupation, affiliations, and even their attitudes. With this information, you can adapt your speech ethically, making sure your message is meaningful and relevant. The third is demographic audience analysis. One method is demographic analysis. This means paying attention to factors like age, gender, culture, group membership, and socioeconomic status. These factors shape how people listen, interpret, and respond to your speech. The fourth is psychological audience analysis. Another method is psychological analysis. This focuses on the audience attitudes, beliefs, and values. For example, what do they think about your topic? How do they feel about you as a speaker? And what values influence their perspective? Understanding this helps you approach sensitive issues with more empathy and care. The fifth is consider how people feel about your subject. When analyzing attitude, we can categorize our audience in three dimensions. The first is interested or uninterested. If they are already interested, our job is to maintain and increase that interested. If they are uninterested, we must find strategies to hook them in. The second is favorable or unfavorable. If they are favorable, that's great. If not, we should recognize their concerns and maybe clarify misconceptions. The third is captive or voluntary. A captive audience may be forced to listen, while a voluntary audience chooses to. In both cases, our job is to make the speech engaging and valuable. And the last is situational audience analysis. Finally, situational analysis considers the size of the audience, the setting, and the occasion. We also need to observe audience responses, both verbal and nonverbal, while we speak. This feedback will help us improve our next presentations. So, the next topic will be presented by Putri.
Thank you, Helma. So the next topic is choosing the most suitable topic for your talk. Now, let's move on to choosing the right topic. A good topic should not only interest the audience, but also benefit them. It should connect to their lives, daily activities, values, or beliefs. A suitable topic creates a sense of collaboration and learning between the speaker and the audience. To truly connect, a speaker must embody the essential qualities. The first one is be clear. Speakers must never talk about something they do not fully understand. Be clear, careful, and consistent. For example, when talking about transportation, you could say that taking public transport saves money and also reduces traffic congestion. Presenting both sides helps your audience clearly understand the full pictures. The next one is be adaptable. Every group of people is different. To adapt, we must consider their experiences, knowledge, and values, including demographic factors such as age, gender, or culture, allows us to shape our message more smoothly and avoid ineffective communication. The next one is be responsive to heterogeneity. A good speaker is confident, but also sensitive to differences. Before using humor, expression, dialects, or body language, we must consider whether it might be misunderstood or offensive to certain groups. Respect is a key. The next is be ethical and be sincere. To be effective, we must speak sincerely. Classical rhetoric offers ours guiding principle. First is ethos or credibility and characters. Next is logos or logical reasoning and pathos or emotional appeal. And sometimes, depending on the audience, mythos which appeals to tradition or cultural values. Using this wisely makes our message more powerful. Next one is knowing your purpose in delivering your speech. Every speech should have a purpose. Usually, it falls into one of three categories. First is to inform by sharing knowledge. Next is to persuade by convincing the audience to accept a point of view. And last is to entertain by telling stories or engaging the audience in fun ways. So, the next one is benefits of using visual aids. Visual aids are powerful tools to make ideas easier to understand. Charts, graphs, photos, or videos can make abstract concepts clear and capture attention. They also make a presentation more memorable. The last one is how to planning your visual aid. When preparing visual aids, remember these guidelines. First, visuals are for the audience, not for the speaker. Next, use color. Color images are more appealing than only plain black and white. Next is combine text with graphics to make slides interesting and interactive. And the last one, remember that PowerPoint should help your audience understand better. If it's boring, it fails its purpose. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Putri. Now I will give summary about what we got in the YouTube videos. One of the best thing you can do for any public speaking is to tailor the message to the specific interest of the audience. The more you customize your message to the specific people, the more likely your message will hit the target. So, to do that, we have to know as much about the audience as possible. The old public speaking triangle has a lot of wisdom to build into it. In any situation, you have the speaker, yourself, you have the message, and then the audience. A lot of new presenters make the mistake of thinking that it's mainly about them as the speaker and as opportunity to shine. They want to make the audience like them, or they want to focus mostly on what's on their mind personally. People are trading their time for what you may have to say. So it's very important to make sure your message speaks to them personally and take an audience-centered approach. So here are some ways to get to know your audience beforehand. The first one, get a quick glance at your listeners, like the general age of your audience, gender, and other demographic factors. By that information on the surface, you can tell a lot about your listeners based upon their group affiliation because they joined that group. For example, you need to speak to a group of about 40 doctors in a hospital, and that's instantly told about what they cared about, so you can customize the message and spoke it directly to them. The second one, once you get past the basics, you can get into more specific about the listener disposition toward the topic, including their knowledge, attitude, and their interest level. Are they showing up for your presentation because they want to be there, or because it's just part of their jobs to be there? That will shape how you tailor your message to them. Like, if you may want to spend a little time in your message directly explaining the value of what you're saying to get them more interested. Next is knowledge. Do they already know about your subject? Or are they just hearing about this for the first time? Or are they already experts about it? And what's their attitude is especially important. If there's any kind of persuasive element to your message, you have to know where their attitude is currently, so you have a starting place to convince them to your point of view. For example, you had to learn the interest, knowledge level, and attitude about that group of doctors you were speaking to make sure your message hit the target. There are two key ways to gather this information if it's not might be on the surface. The first one, give your audience questionnaire or surveys maybe a few weeks in advance. You can ask them anything you want that would help you adjust your message. The second one, have a long and detailed conversation with the person who is trying to book you for the event or the person inviting you to speak in the first place. Essentially, if someone has already asked you to speak, they know the information and will usually be happy to share that with you because they want your workshop, presentation, or whatever it is to go well and reflects on them. And the last step is to go back to your message and adjust it in every possible way so that everything speaks directly to that particular audience. You don't want your message to sound ordinary and generic. You want your examples, illustration, even the specific research that you cite, and advice you give to hit the center of the target. If we look at this public speaking triangle one more time, yes, you're still the speaker. And that includes all of your knowledge, expertise, and any kind of special experience that you bring to the table. And you are still delivering a message that you care about. Okay, so that's all our summary about topic this week. We apologize for any shortcomings and please kindly give any feedbacks for error in pronunciation and so on. Thank you very much for the attention and everyone who's watching the video. And bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.